Today I'll be installing these two items in my 2018 Hyundai Elantra Sport. I have the 7-inch touchscreen stereo with navigation, infinity premium sound, which comes with this beautiful little 8-inch woofer. I think the word on the street is it's about 90 watts. And it's put in a free air situation. I did a lot of research trying to find a good free air replacement for it. Couldn't find what I was looking for in an 8-inch, so I went out and I just shopped highest wattage with largest X max and tried to keep the, I think it's called QTS, up close to 0.7. And what I came up with was this NVX 8-inch woofer with a monster of a magnet. It is a dual 2-ohm voice coil. The model number, if I can pick this thing up with one hand. This is a VCW 82V3. It's rated at 650 watts, 1200 max. And I'm also going to be wiring in this Kicker Key 500.1 amplifier. It is rated at 500 watts at 1 ohm. I'm probably going to run it at 2 ohms. Going to get 300 watts ran out to the woofer. The reason why I chose this amplifier is that it has a built-in digital sound processor, so I will be able to use this to defeat the factory bass roll-off. Alright, see how it goes. Okay, so fast forward a little bit. I'm not documenting taking off the seat bottom or these side sills. That all seems pretty well covered online. But once you get up in here, I'm looking for my flashlight. Once you get up in here, back there, there's a tricky little clip. I found it easiest to just make a little gap over here and push in on it. Then you can pull this back. Once you get that C pillar cover off of there, which needs to be removed on both sides, because that's anchoring down the parcel shelf. Once you get those off of there, there's a tricky little clip up here behind the airbag. Yeah, I'm really gonna need the flashlight. It's kind of hard to see. I need 2 hands to expose it, but you just go up in between the airbag and the chassis, and there's a little tether piece in there. You have to cut it out. There's no reuse process, so order a couple of these from your local Hyundai store. Part number 85815-C100. 2 of them will run you under 14 bucks. I don't have sales tax here, so maybe more for you. Who knows? Okay, now having both of those out, removing this parcel shelf pad should be pretty straightforward. You just slip your hand under there, some upward tension where the clips are. Should just pop right up. And once they're popped, it should come right out. What do you think? Let's see here. I'm gonna pause you for a second and go 2 hands on this. Okay. Once you got it popped all loose, just pull right out. There's the location for the factory subwoofer, the wiring, mounting bolts. I'm gonna put some sound deadening up here too and block off that hole. I opted to run my power wire for the amplifier through here. I'll show you later where it comes out. Probably gonna run the remote wire for my amp through here, down the driver's side. To be determined. Well, upon further inspection, it looks as though there is no way for this woofer to fit in there on account of those trunk tensioner bars. Yeah, right there. They just don't allow any room to do anything. So, got a little bit of sound deadening up here. I'm going to continue closing up these holes. I'm going to leave the woofer out because NVX sells an Elantra specific woofer that can mount right over there. I think I'm going to get that and then leave this open for pass through. Still trying to figure out where I want to mount the amplifier at. At this point, if I'm not putting the woofer up here, I'm not going to mount the amplifier on that cross beam along the front top of the trunk. I'll probably go behind the panel, back where the amplifier's at. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was a fair amount of work. You know, you might be able to make this spot work with a different woofer. The NVX VCW in the 8-inch version, it's like 6 inches deep from the bottom of the mounting point to the bottom of the magnet. So there was no way it was going to go in from the top. And even if it was, the opening for the woofer would have to be widened out quite a bit in order for it to fit. So I was going to mount it from the bottom. That's where that bar got in the way. So yeah, I'm going to get the NVX 10-inch that's designed for this 2018 Elantra Sport, mounted in the trunk. And then I'm really happy with how the sound deadening turned out. It sounded like a tin can back here before. So even if you're not replacing the woofer, this is probably a good thing to do. I don't think I'm going to go for 100% coverage with the sound deadening. Main thing just being put some tension on the long panels of metal and then use it to seal up some holes. So yeah, 1 out of 10. Do not recommend. Oh boy. Okay, it's been about a week without bass in my car. Remember, I was trying to fit that NVX VCW 8 into that opening. Wasn't gonna work. Those trunk bars were in the way. I mounted up my kicker key 500.1. Got some sound deadening in there. I did end up ordering that NVX single 10 custom enclosure. It's supposed to fit right there. I'm not 100% on it. I ended up ordering this recoil 8-inch woofer, dual voice coil, 2 ohms each. It's considerably smaller. It fits the mounting ring pretty much. So I figured at $39 for that woofer off of Amazon, I'd give it a go. Bought some birch wood. I'm gonna make a custom mounting ring or flange, whatever, out of that to mount the woofer to, and then mount that into the back deck. This is going to be my last attempt at using that hole. I think it's going to work. We'll find out. I'm going to wire this to play at 4 ohms. I know going free air, you're supposed to slash the RMS in half because you don't have the box to give the suspension to the woofer. This was rated at 200 watts RMS. At 4 ohms RMS off of the factory, or not the factory, off of the Kicker Key 500.1. It's rated at 130 watts. So I think that's in the ballpark. I'll gain match based off of target voltage by taking the target watts and 4 ohm load. I'll cover that here in just a little bit, but for now I'm going to get working on making the mounting adapter, and I'll come back with some more information on that. Here I have taken the factory mounting ring, traced it out onto some birch wood. I here and here made a little bit of revision for it so that the mounting terminals will go on cleanly. And then I also connected here to omit this part of the plastic, which is where the factory wiring connection was at. So now before I cut it out, I'm gonna drill out the mounting holes, and then I will also cut out the speaker mounting before getting the outside cut out. Then at that point, I'm gonna make some pre-drilled holes for the screws to go through from the subwoofer, and then these will bolt down into the factory locations for the sub. So I'll get that cut out and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, the ring is cut. Pre-drilled the holes. I applied sound deadening material to the top, thinking maybe it'll strengthen it. I'm not sure how much abuse this piece is going to take, but it got kind of thin at a couple spots where there's going to be screws mounting through it. I'm going to be putting this weather strip caulking cord in between the speaker and the mount, and then on the inside of the car between the mount and the rear deck. One thing I understand about free air speakers, it's important to keep the front wave separated from the back wave, so the more sealing you can get done, the better sound quality you're going to get. So we'll see how that pans out. Okay, before I got up in there, I remembered something I saw. There was a person that put up a video about doing something similar to this on a Hyundai Genesis, and the mounting point was not large enough for the wood that he had. So I just took a wood saw, decreased it by half, and see if that's enough. Now I gotta go tear all my interior out for the 3rd time. Okay, got everything mounted up. Kicker's up against the front top edge of the trunk. power ground remote feeding through there. High level inputs feeding through over there. And my speaker line over the top of the amp. Dual 2-ohm voice coil wired in a 4-ohm configuration to keep the wattage of the kicker at around 130. The recoil 8-inch dual 2-ohm voice coil is rated at 200 watts RMS. I think I already covered that. After making the adapter plate, it fit in there pretty well. The number one problem I had was these speaker terminals actually exceed the cutout diameter for the woofer. So like, I had to smash them in. I think I broke some plastic, but it's hooked up and it works. So I'm just gonna roll with it. The fitment up there is pretty tight, but had the clearance for that trunk torsion bar. Initially had the high level for the kicker ran from the subwoofer, factory subwoofer leads. I think the voltage on those were too high. When I was doing the gain matching on the kicker, the gain was hardly turned up at all. Kept clipping, sounded like crap. So I took that all apart. Ended up going through, taking out the inner fender well and accessing the factory amplifier from there. Grabbed the audio feed for the front speakers, then ran that back up into the amplifier. At this point, it sounds really good. Even reaching those down low 30 hertz notes, like it's hitting it. I'm getting some vibration on the inside. So I pulled that down. I got sound deadening material up in there. I have sound deadening on the rear deck like you saw. I have filled the area in between the woofer, in between the rear deck and the parcel shelf. That's all polyfill in there now. And I have also put these little foam blocks at the rear edge of the parcel shelf. It was getting some vibration off of the glass, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, previously I said 0 out of 10, do not recommend. That was regarding the NVX. Regarding the recoil, RW802, highly recommend. Sounds good. Shakes the mirrors, but doesn't bother the neighborhood. This is exactly what I was after. Just a little bit more than what the OEM had to offer, and no more bass roll off over volume 25.